What surprised you the most today, good or bad? I'll let you, if you need a minute, I'll give you mine. If you want to give me yours, then I'll give you mine. That's fine too. But there were 3 or 4 things that I'm not going to say I couldn't have seen coming, but I was surprised that we saw today.
I think that what surprised me the most was the lack of penetration from Tennessee's defensive front.
Okay.
Florida just pushed them around, and I thought that you would see, okay, I thought you would see that coaching staff, Tim Banks and that defensive coaching staff. He's got Willie Martinez on that staff, a lot of guys who've been around a long time. I thought they would have said, okay, Etienne and Montrell Johnson, you are not going to run the football on us. We're going to make Graham Mertz beat us with his arm, and they did not do that. They did not do that at all. You got to give Billy Napier a lot of credit for, if there's one thing the guy can do, it's he can call some plays, and he can get things, get an offensive line playing in a really good way. I don't think that Florida's going to be able to run the ball like that on everybody. Especially when they play Georgia later on, because that's one thing Georgia has not done is they've not allowed people to run the football on them this year, and they won't. And then of course the other thing is the lack of fight from Mississippi State. I just thought at the very least they would cover. I really thought they would win that game. Honestly, I thought they would come out and play good at home, early kick, all that kind of stuff. But those two things shocked me.
I think my biggest surprise was not just Florida winning it, but winning it by the margin that it did. I felt fairly confident that Tennessee would win the game. But as I always say, I'm really scared when Vegas has got a very different take on the game than I had, and that was one of them. So that's probably number one. I think Alabama scored 17 points today. Not finding any answer at quarterback as a 32-point favorite. I guess we just take for granted that Alabama's gonna plug me or you in at quarterback and it's gonna work out. That very much did not happen. That game was 3-3 at half. And I think Mississippi State being so uncompetitive.
Yeah.
I mean, I've wondered about that offense and what they're doing. I said before the season, you don't get it both ways. You don't get to have this legendary coach with this great offense and talk about, how valuable that is, and then lose him and shrug your shoulders and go, hey, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And changing over that personnel like that, there's always an adjustment, but man, I just saw the way that they were running the football those first couple of games, and I thought, okay, they'll at least be able to have some balance, and they'll be able to then they'll throw the ball down the field a little bit more, and it just didn't come to fruition there. That front seven with Mason Smith being back for LSU, and then Deshaun Womack playing some now, who he hadn't played the first 2 games. See, I didn't have all that information when I was making my picks. I probably would have changed a little bit on that, but Deshaun Womack is a talented guy that came in and is able to really help out, and they let Harold Perkins go be Harold Perkins a little bit today. They weren't trying to, play him at linebacker, drop him out in coverage, all this kind of stuff. Just let him go play, and that's what he did a little bit more today.
Who I think they might miss as much as Mike Leach? Emmanuel Forbes.
Oh yeah. He was a playmaker.
Look, those guys, you just first round corners, shut down corners like he was. And he didn't just shut guys down. He ran it back the other way when you made a mistake. That might be the rarest commodity in college football. And you saw what oh, good grief, I'm blanking.
Jaden Daniels.
Well, Jaden Daniels, but on the other end of that too, what they did. I mean,
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors. Sorry, I went blank. Neighbors had 230 something yards today. 239. Is that it?
He went nuts.
Yeah, I mean that's where a stud corner might come in handy.
No doubt. And I just thought, hey, early kick, LSU. Chris, what we saw LSU do in that Florida State game was they gave up in that second half. There was quit in that team, and that's what concerned me, and that's what gave me reason to think, okay, Mississippi State, I don't think they'll quit, but boy, did they when they got punched in the mouth A team that, even though it was a cupcake, that I continue, even despite the loss like last week, Chris, that I continue to be impressed with is Texas A&M, and that's because of the quarterback play. We talk about quarterback play. Listen to this for Connor Wigman. I don't care if you're playing on air. This is impressive. 25 of 29, 337 and a touchdown. He's got all those weapons over there. We saw the emergence of Reuben Owens tonight, that talented freshman running back. I think you're going to see Texas A&M really make some noise in I think you're going to see them make some noise in the conference play as they get started here. I'm excited to see who they open up with. They got Auburn next week at home. Huge game for both of those programs. But on the flip side of that, Chris, Auburn's quarterback play is atrocious right now. Atrocious.
Yeah, I think the biggest overreaction in the league so far was everybody reacting to what Florida State did to LSU. That was LSU didn't play well, but lost to a potential national title team.
Well,
and
did you see what Florida State did today?
Well, yes, but Georgia had a couple of those games last year. I still.
I know. I'm just saying. Is there, like, to your point, is there a elite team in college football this year? Because Florida State looked bad. Texas was struggling with Wyoming. Michigan was 14-6 with Bowling Green at halftime. Like, what is going on? I don't know. Chris?
But I mean, okay, look, you call them whatever you want. Florida State is one of the better teams in college football.
No doubt.
Top 5 team on anybody's list right now, I think, even with today. So 100%. You play a really good team. You just have one of those days for whatever reason, and everybody goes crazy because that's what they do in Baton Rouge when you have a game like that. And I think I wonder if A&M is a close second. What happened in Miami? Because that's not the way we would have drawn up A&M losing a game, right? Where they can't stop the pass, because even when they were a losing team a year ago, that wasn't an issue. So I thought maybe that's something, or maybe it's just one of those one-off, just not your day. And so I don't think destroying ULM today,
no, but we'll find out. We'll find out if
week.
We'll find out if that secondary has problems next week against Auburn, because Auburn is not good at all in the passing game. They don't have very many weapons at receiver. So if Texas A&M struggles at all in the secondary, then we'll know there's a problem, Chris, over there, because they're going to be at home. I expect Texas A&M to handle business in that game, and then Texas A&M after that will have Arkansas in Dallas. So. Arkansas has got to get recuperated here, but they don't have much time to do it because they have to go to Baton Rouge next week, and that is tough after this loss to BYU.